Call.
Mayor Tripp,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mewburn,
Here.
Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Ross,
Here.
Commissioner Goff. You're muted, Cindy.
Roll call. Roll call.
Mayor Tripp,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mewburn,
Here.
Commissioner Langley.
Here.
Okay, let me try Commissioner Davis again. Are you here, Johnny?
Sir, I can't see his name in the list, so it might, I don't know if he named his phone something else.
Okay.
Oh, I think, oh,
Coach.
Can someone text him to ask?
Yes.
If they're going to text him to ask, if you would. Then we're going to get started because most of this is preliminary. Then we can catch them up. First of all, I want to welcome everyone who is here tonight with us on Zoom. I'll say this, the first time in the history of our great town that a board meeting has occurred in this mannerism. As you know, with the COVID and the stay-at-home restriction that our governor in the state of North Carolina has implemented, we're following the policy accordingly. And so we're very appreciative of your patience. So we will have opportunity for public comments, and we'll talk through those when we get that point. But with that said, I hope everyone has been safe and has gotten through the first 8 weeks of this disease that is going around, and I hope everyone is healthy. So with that said, the protocol for the public comment section, Mr. Manager, can you give that out before we start moving on? Is the manager on the telecom?
Yes, his microphone's muted.
hold on.
Mute now. Okay,
Here we go.
come on. All right. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll do that. And we have on the agenda public comments, and public comments is intended for anybody who has any information they'd like to provide to the town board. It's not intended for comments on anything like the quasi judicial hearings or anything else that's on the agenda. And those public comments have to be kept to 3 minutes. Before you speak, we would need to know your name and your address and let you know that those 3 minutes are going to be timed such that when the 3 minutes are up, if you haven't completed, you will be automatically muted so we can keep the Zoom meeting going. So that's basically it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Steve, Commissioner Goff was put on mute.
Yep, she should be good now.
Okay, Commissioner
Can
Goff.
you hear me okay?
Okay.
Yes.
we hear you.
Got me? Okay.
Good. So good. So appreciate it, Mr. Manager. At this time, we will have invocation. So if you bow your heads and let's pray. So Lord, we're going to pray, giving you thanks for this day. The sunshine is shining, the birds are flying, and we know that you're in control. We know that we face a disease, a virus that is very deadly and has caused a lot of issues through not only through our country, but also the world. But we know that you are in control, and we know that you can and help us through this. So we pray that and lift it up in your name to give us the strength and the healing that we may need as we progress. We ask that you be with this town. As you know, we have taken an economic hit. So we're looking forward to your guidance to put us back where we need to be in that regards. But we know that you will never forsake us. We know that you love us. So we say thank you for that. Be with us tonight as we make decisions, as we move our town forward, that we do things that are pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen.
Amen.
The next item is a pledge of allegiance, and there's the flag. So thank you for that. So if you would, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States
of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. The next item is the agenda approval. Mr. Manager, any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So move.
Second.
Can you state your name when you're making the motion?
Ivory Mewborn.
Cindy Goff, second.
Okay, the motion properly made and second. In discussion, vote on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion did carry, so thank you for that. At this time, we do have public comments. Again, Mr. Manager gave us the instructions how to proceed. At this time, if someone would like to make a comment, please state your name and address and remember the 3 minutes. So you may do so now,
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna have to unmute everybody at one time.
okay?
I'm gonna get ready to do that, and then hopefully they'll chime in. You might want to ask again, but all right. So everybody's audio is now open, so you might want to ask that question one more time.
Hello, everyone. We appreciate you being with us. At this time is public comments. The manager gave the instruction to go through this. If you would, state your name and address so we know who we're talking to. So you may begin.
My name is Donald Kinney, and I have the horse farm that's adjoining your item number 1. Is it now time to discuss that, or should I wait?
Mr. Kennedy, we need to wait when we do public hearing, when we do item number 1. So we'll wait, we'll call on you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on with our agenda. The first item is, the next 3 are public hearings, and we have a process to do that. Attorney has approved with. And so the first item is a major preliminary plat, Country Club Creek. Mr. Manager, if you want to lead us through that, or the plan.
I'm Mr. Mayor. I was going to, if you don't mind, pass off to the town attorney to kind of walk us through this quasi judicial hearing so it's done properly. And
Okay, thank you.
he's the expert.
All right, Mr. Attorney.
Obviously, we're all kind of doing this by it's an animal circumstance to a degree, but it's going to be kind of like we normally do it. People are going to need to be sworn. Everything's going to be off of. You guys are voting. Make sure you. Can you guys hear me?
It's not real loud.
All right, there's a little kind of feedback, but again, it'll just be kind of how we normally do it. Just pay attention to stating your name. If there's a connection lost at any point, we'll kind of have to readdress it. The main thing we were concerned about before these was getting waivers and stuff signed. So anybody that has standing was advised. I've been told that's been done. So at this point, I think we just let Stephen kind of lay out as we normally do, and then let people testify and present evidence.
All right, thanks, Mr. Attorney. Mr. Planner.
Yeah, and for the sake of this call, I'm gonna ask everybody to mute their audio because we're getting feedback through probably 45 phone lines right now. So I'm gonna wait just a minute and see how many mute, and then we'll move into the first hearing. Okay, let me share. I'm gonna put this up on the screen. Mr. Mayor, can you see that?
I can. Yeah,
okay.
We're good.
All right. The first, again, these are quasi judicial hearings. So I guess, Scott, should we swear in individually prior to the start of these?
He's muted.
Scott's muted again.
There we go.
Hey, Scott.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you
Yeah,
back
it's
now.
getting muted and it won't let me switch it back. So I don't know how we're going to play that. But yes, I would. Anybody that intends to speak per plat, I would swear out beforehand.
All right, I think I fixed it. Everybody should be able to unmute themselves now.
Okay. Do you want me to go do that? Just in the feedback.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think we need to swear in those speaking on this first one.
Yeah.
Even before I start.
I would do that.
Let me unmute Mr. Kenny because I know he's involved.
I'm unmuted.
All right. I think myself, I know Mr. Kenny and the White Burles, he's also here. So I don't know how you want to proceed with those swearing in of those three.
I think Sarah can just make contact and do like a joint oath as long as they can identify themselves.
Okay, let me get Mr. Kenny up here.
Then they need to either attest or affirm to the fact that they're going to be telling the truth and it's going to be based.
So you just have two, Stephen, Donald, Kenny, and who's the other?
The two, and then Dwight with Rivers and Associates is also on. And let's see. I know they're on the call, and I'm not sure if there's anybody else out there that wants to speak on this one or not.
Okay, the one we're doing is the,
Country Club Creek.
yeah, so if there's anybody else who wants to speak on this matter, we'll need to know now so we can get you sworn in. Okay, I'm gonna do, I'll do you first, Stephen. I'm gonna do you all individually.
Okay.
Okay, so if you'll just say, just repeat after me, I think
Okay.
that'd be the best way to do it.
Mhm.
I, and state your name,
I, Stephen Smith,
do affirm to tell the truth,
do affirm to tell the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, Mr. Kenny, same thing for you. I, state your name,
I, Donald Kinney,
do affirm
do affirm
to tell the truth,
to tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Okay, and Mr. Dwight.
Yes.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah, we
yes,
got
sir. Okay, so I, and state your name,
Okay, I, Dwight Burnelson,
do affirm
do affirm
to tell the truth,
to tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth. So help me
nothing
God.
but the truth, so help me God.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Stephen, you want to start or how you want to proceed?
Yes, sir. We'll get right right into it. Again, this first hearing is for Country Club Creek phases 1 through 4. Submitted revised preliminary depicts 128 lots on 80 plus acres. Sorry about the screen switch, with an additional 7,150 feet of new public roads. As you'll recall, this plat was previously approved back in June of 2018, and the total lots at that time were 100. The proposed street layout has not changed. And just with the changes to the lot size requirements in our new UDO that we adopted back in January, they were able to include 28 additional lots. And this property is located within the city limits and is currently zoned R12 with some conservation as well. Water is provided to the site by Eastern Pine Sewer, and electrical are available and provided by the town. As you'll see on your screen there, just a general layout with the parcel in question selected in blue. This map just kind of shows you the zoning for the area. Again, this property is zoned R12 with the remainder in our conservation district. Land use plan, again, for the area. Again, this development is dedicating roughly 1.31 acres for usable open space with an additional 30+ acres being reserved in the rear is natural open space. Plan was reviewed by Pitt County Schools and they provided no comments. Plan has been reviewed again by NCDOT with a turn lane required on Ayden Golf Club Road. The stormwater plan for this development was previously approved by McDavid and Associates, and the addition of the 28 lots can be accommodated by the existing approved plan. I tried to just blow up showing the actual development, and I circled the open space that will be preserved for usable recreation. And then there's also towards the rear down on the creek, there's a greenway easement of roughly 6 acres back there that the residents will also be able to utilize. Staff has reviewed the revised preliminary plat and found it to meet all the town's requirements and such. I'm recommending approval for the preliminary plat of Country Club Creek phases 1 through 4. Also at the April 20th planning board meeting, they did vote unanimously as well to recommend approval of the revised preliminary plat. With that, that concludes my staff report. I think it'd be appropriate now to hear from the other folks that want to speak on this matter. And then again, this is a little different than we're used to for subdivisions. This will be a quasi judicial hearing. And as part of your approval or denial process, the 3 findings of fact that are on the screen now have to be found in the affirmative prior to approval. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions to the planner at this time from our board members?
Exactly where is that turn lane that they're requiring? Where is that going to be installed, Stephen?
Let me back up and see if we can. It's hard to see on this map, but it'll be installed as it leads into their new entrance that they're constructed. And again, the engineer's on the meeting, so he may be able to clearly let you know exactly where that is, but it'll be installed sort of between Fairway Road and Mulligan Drive, if you can see that on the screen.
Okay. All right, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board members? Okay, with that said, we'll go into public hearing. I know that Mr. Kennedy wants to make some comments, so we'll let him go first. Mr. Kennedy.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is Donald Kinney. I have 2 points that I just wanted clarification of. Is we haven't really talked much about, and that is the existing power lines that comes into my farm that is on the property that to be developed. Are those poles going to stay there with the existing lines, or is that configuration going to change? And then if I may also add my item 2, some time ago when this process was coming to fruition, Mr. Evans and I, with Dwight, have all agreed on putting in a road for the farm, where the existing road that I use now belongs to the development. So I knew, now I have estimates in putting in that new road. Who would I coordinate getting those estimates to the finances that are going to pay for that road? I assume it's Dwight.
Yes, sir.
So that's where I'm at with those 2 items, if I can get some response.
Dwight, you want to respond to that?
Yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Kenny. Yes, sir. If you can get that information to me about the cost for moving the driveway, I can get that to Mr. Evans, and I think we've already discussed it, like you said, and he was in agreement to me, do everything. So if you can get that information to me, I can pass it on and see if we can make that happen.
That's wonderful. I'll do that.
Okay,
And then if we may also address the power lines.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yeah.
Keith Murphy, our Public Works Utilities Director, is on the line. Keith, could you address what's going to happen with that existing power line?
They'll probably stay there, but poles will probably move, according to property lines, but the lines will stay there.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm golden.
Okay, good.
I've been very, very pleased with everything, and I just hope to God everything goes as planned.
Thank you for those comments. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Dwight, do you have any comments you want to make additional to that?
No, it's really, it's all about the street stay the same. The alignment, the only thing we're changing really is the number of lots, which means, of course, we'll have more water and sewer taps. But everything else stays the same.
Okay. Steve, could you go back to the preliminary plot itself?
That one?
Yes, the Mulligan Drive. I'm sorry, I apologize. Any other public comments?
One last one, I guess the third one. When will phase one begin? Do we know that?
That's a good question. What we bid the price, we bid the project some time ago, and prices came in, and I think it surprised everybody. So that's when they said, okay, let's go back and see if we can revise the number of lots. But my understanding is that if we get approved tonight, they would like to go ahead and change the construction drawings, and I'll submit them to Stephen. And after, as soon as we can, we'd love to go to construction. But
Awesome.
we got to get those construction drawings revised and approved first.
Great, thank you.
Any other comments, public hearing? Since there is none, we will close to public hearing. Any questions from the commissioners? I do have one question, Stephen.
Okay.
You go back to that diagram again. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So the Mulligan Drive is the exit to the highway,
Correct.
That's correct.
and then Benwood Road intersects Fairway Road. Where's so Benwood goes to phase 3? Is that what that goes to?
Yes, that's it. I believe that's phase 3. Ultimately, I think phase 1 will include all of Mulligan Drive's construction as well as the tie-in with Fairway Road.
Okay.
Which at that time, once phase 1's completed, you would have two entrances into the development.
Yeah, I'm good then. Any other questions from commissioners? We had to do 3 findings if there's no questions, and no question, we're going to go right to the findings. The first one is the submitted major preliminary plot complies with all applicable provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance.
And I would just go around, state the name and state whether you affirm or deny. I think that'd be the best, easiest way.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis. Okay, that's 4 yes, so that passed. The supplement major preliminary plot provides adequate infrastructure to support the path as proposed. Mayor Pro Tem Mewburn,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
He stepped away for a second.
We gotta wait, probably.
Probably Johnny.
Yeah.
I hear him.
Yeah, that's it.
I think Coach will have to sit out of this vote and just join in on the next one, and we'll just.
He's here.
Okay,
I know,
the,
but those parts.
Commissioner Langley, I'm sorry. The findings of fact, the submitted major preliminary plot provides adequate infrastructure to support the plan as proposed. Do you agree or not?
Yes.
Okay. And the last one, the submitted major preliminary plot will not be a detriment to the use of development of adjacent properties. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Okay. Then the next is going to be,
Approve or
what's
deny.
next, Mr. Attorney?
It's a motion to approve or deny.
Make
The
a motion,
Motion made by
Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, second.
Cindy Goff, second.
Commissioner Goff, in discussion. Going to vote on the motion. Commissioner Mewburn, Mayor Pro Tem Mewburn,
It's okay. Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Okay, that one passed.
Now, coach is here also now.
Okay,
Yeah, he can join in moving forward, but he missed the first part, so you just.
Okay, that's fine.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
okay, go next item, Mr. Manager.
Next item is a major preliminary plat for Montebello. It's a quasi judicial hearing, and I'll turn this over to Stephen to lead us through like he did the last one to get everybody sworn in.
Gonna end
He
up,
doesn't need to be sworn in again since he's already been sworn in.
right, so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna unmute everybody for a minute so we can figure out who's, all right, everybody should be unmuted. So we'll just need to know if there's anybody that is here to speak on this particular case for Montebello.
So,
Ayden,
Yes, Mike?
okay, we're via phone, we're having a problem logging in Zoom.
Okay,
I recognize the voice. Mike Baldwin.
He can just state his name, and we could probably do it on audio since you guys have dealt with him so much. I recognize his voice as well, so
Yeah.
I'm confident with that. If anybody else is speaking, it might get a little problematic. If we can't see him, just understand that. I'm comfortable with myself.
is there anyone else who would like to speak at this public hearing?
Oh, just here, you can read mine, or you got yours.
Okay, Stephen, let's go with Mr. Baldwin.
okay, and real quick, Mike, can you just say your name again? I'm trying to capture the phone number you're calling from so we can, I know which one's you, so if I got to mute to anybody, I won't mute you on accident.
All right, I'm on a 5658723, I think.
Yep,
We
got
dialed in on the second,
it. Okay, got it.
secondary line.
Sarah, he's all yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, if you'll just state your name, just say I, state your name, do affirm,
Michael W. Baldwin, do affirm.
to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Planner?
All right. Again, we do have a request for a preliminary plat submitted by Baldwin and Associates. It does depict 193 lots on 110 acres. Also on Ayden Golf Club Road with an additional 8143 feet of new public roads. Property is located within the town city limits and is currently zoned residential mixed use, R10 residential and conservation. Water is provided to the site by Eastern Pines, and sewer and electrical will be provided by the town of Ayden. Just a aerial photo of the location, just giving you some bearings on where this one is located, just before you get to the country club on the right-hand side. Again, just another zoning map showing you the different zonings in that area. Again, this does have some residential mixed use in the front, which will call for smaller lot sizes. And then as we progress to the back, you're at R10 zoning with a little larger lots back that way. The development is dedicating a little over 2 acres for usable open space with an additional 40 acres being reserved as natural. This plan has also been reviewed by Pitt County Schools and they had no comments. DOT did review this plan as well, and they're requiring turn lanes to be installed on Ayden Golf Club Road. The applicant is proposing a low density stormwater plan, calculations and design criteria have been reviewed and approved by McDavid and Associates. Again, here's a map of the proposal. It's my understanding that this will be done in 2 phases. Kind of hard to pick up the phase lines on this big a plat, but I think the first phase is roughly 129 lots, I believe. Again, on this map, I also wanted to highlight the dedicated open space that will be located at the end of the cul-de-sac there. And also there will be an access easement provided from this open space area down into the natural areas where there is a greenway easement that will be preserved as well. Again, staff has reviewed the submitted preliminary plat, and we did find it to meet all the applicable requirements. As such, we are recommending approval. And likewise, at the April 20th planning board meeting, they did vote unanimously to recommend approval of, at that time, they recommended conditional approval. We were still waiting on stormwater approval there, but that has since been obtained. So all the conditions and corrections have been completed. And that's all I have for you on that one. I'm sure Mike can answer any questions, and I'll be glad to answer any you might have as well.
Mr. Baldwin, any comments?
Mr. Mayor, thank you, and town commission members, I appreciate the opportunity to be here on behalf of Leo Venters. Just looking forward to developing this property just, on the north side of the golf course. We believe the mix, doing a little different lot mix will be received well. So looking forward to getting going on it, pending y'all's approval.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anyone else like to speak on it?
Can't because they got to swear in.
Okay, that's right. Okay, we're going to end the public hearing. Any questions from the commissioners?
None.
Last time.
Steve, can you go back to the plot again?
Yes.
I'm sorry, can we close the hearing?
Yes, close the hearing. Hearing's closed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. The Moscato, Moscato lane is going into another property, and then the Sonato lane is going to another property. Is that continuous in that property?
Those are stub outs as required by the ordinance for potential development down the road. The Swift Creek run that you see on that same side, that's actually going to stub out into a development we'll be talking about next month. But the other stub outs that you see in various locations are a requirement of our ordinance, just planning ahead for any future developments to make sure that we've got connectivity between projects.
Okay, appreciate it. And the mixed use, give me a rundown of some of the mixed use.
Just the zoning class, it's a residential mixed use. So you could have a variety of single family housing types, patio homes. The biggest benefit to the mixed use zoning is the lot size accommodation. Typically when you see a patio home constructed, it's not on a big lot. That was rezoned back when we updated our map to accommodate for that type of development.
Okay, I'm good. Any questions from the commissioners?
I don't have any.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, let's go to the findings. Okay, the first one is the submitted major preliminary plot complies with all applicable provision of the Unified Development Ordinance. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. The submitted major preliminary plot provides adequate infrastructure to support the plan as proposed. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. The submitted major preliminary plot will not be detrimental to the use of development of adjacent properties. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Now we need a motion for approval or denial of the preliminary plot.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Langley. Hey, we're going to vote. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Good. That has been approved.
Great job, guys.
Thank you. The next is major preliminary plot, East Ridge, Section 2. Mr. Manager or Mr. Planner?
That would be Stephen taking it from there, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Yeah, and we'll do the same thing with this. And I know Mr. Baldwin's representing this development as well, but if there's anybody else that's listening that wants to speak on this particular development, they need to come forward now to be sworn in.
Am I still under oath, Stephen?
Yeah, he's already been sworn.
Yes.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at the public hearing? I hear none, Mr. Planner. Let's proceed on.
Okay. Again, this is a preliminary plat also submitted by Baldwin Associates for East Ridge Section 2. This preliminary plat depicts 305 lots on 156 acres on Ayden Golf Club Road with an additional 16,680 feet of new public roads. This property is currently located within the town's ETJ and is currently zoned R10. Water is provided to the site by Eastern Pines, and sewer in the future and electric are available to the site provided by the town. As you'll recall, this property or this area is scheduled to be served by a sewer line extension that's currently being planned for the area. And again, this property will require annexation prior to final approval. Just a general overview of where the property is located. As you can see, the first lots in phase 1 were all roadfront lots on Ayden Golf Club Road. Again, the zoning for the entire area is shown here, all R10. Approximately 4.125 acres of usable open space is being proposed. The plan has been reviewed by Pitt County Schools and they have no comments. This plan was also reviewed by DOT and turn lanes are required again to be installed on Ayden Golf Club Road. The applicant's proposing a low density stormwater plan and calculations design criteria will need to be confirmed, approved by McDavid prior to any preliminary approval. We've been in discussions with them, and as we get into the construction plan phase, there could be changes in design depending on how that turns out. And I think Rich is on if any questions come up about that. I'm sure Mike can answer those as well. Here's a plan showing the overall layout development. And I tried to highlight the location of the usable open space. As you can see, this development has several stub outs. The one Bellflower Drive, if you can see that on the top of the screen, that'll actually stub out into subdivision in the county jurisdiction that's actually under construction right now. So we'll again planning for those future connections for any future developments in the area down the road. Again, staff has reviewed this preliminary plat and found it to conditionally meet all the applicable requirements of the town's UDO. As I mentioned, we'll still need to work through some of the stormwater calculations and design criteria for low density developments. And again, as such, I would recommend conditional approval of the preliminary plat for East Ridge Section 2. And likewise, the planning board did vote unanimously to recommend conditional approval of this preliminary plat at its April 20th meeting. That's all I have for you. Do you know Mike is available for comments, and I'll answer any questions that you may have as well.
We're going to open it to public hearing. So anybody wants to speak on this project may do so. Mike, if you want to speak, you can.
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again, board members. As y'all can see when you ride through there, this area, the road frontage lots that Leo developed, as well as the subdivision across the street that Don Edmondson developed, has all had, you know, nice growth in the last few years, and we just want to bring this project on and continue that. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any question to Mr. Baldwin? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Again, this is a 3 findings that we'll have to vote on. So we'll get that started. The first finding, the submitted major preliminary plot complies with all applicable provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
The submitted major preliminary plot applies adequate infrastructure to support the plan as proposed. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
And last, the submitted major preliminary plot will not be detrimental to the use of development of adjacent properties. Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Yes.
and
You
Commissioner.
hear me, Mayor?
I did. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We got you.
We got it.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Okay. Now we need a motion to approve or deny the revised preliminary plot for East Ridge, section number 2.
And Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Goff, so move.
I believe,
Motion to approve.
hold up. I believe it was specified that it wanted to be conditional. Is that right, Steve?
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Say that in your motion that we're going to conditionally approve it as stated as a requirement.
Yes, conditionally approved. So Commissioner Ross, you made the first motion. You're good with
I'm
conditional?
having some difficulty hearing, I guess, is anybody else having any difficulty?
You're just making a motion to approve with the conditions that were discussed earlier by Stephen. That's it.
You want me to do the motion?
Whoever made it originally, just say,
Commissioner Goff.
oh, Commissioner Goff, yeah, just say it as stated by Stephen, conditional approval.
Okay, motion as stated by Stephen, conditional approval.
Right. We got it.
And Mayor Pro Tem, I think you did second it.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the motion has been made and second. We're going to vote on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
The motion has passed. So congratulations on getting those 3 preliminary plots approved.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
I wanted to just maybe throw out some information here. The total on that was 626 lots. At 2 to 3 persons per household, this will end up being adding between 1,200 and 1,900 citizens to the town of Ayden.
Yeah. So what we just did and having an investor to invest in 626 homes is another historical moment for the town of Ayden. As this Zoom meeting is, I cannot recall, and I don't think in the history of town that this has occurred under one meeting at one time. And the 626 homes that the manager talked about is the total number. And the population, how much you say, 1,200,
Between
1,500?
1,200 and 1,900 people, depending on a count of 2 to 3 persons per home.
Yes. And the total value, if those homes are built at what we think is the average house today, it's going to be at over $125 million investment in that part of our town, in which will generate lots of tax money and also revenue, which is important, but not really that's not the important thing. The important thing is we just open up development for future citizens of Ayden who we may not know, and we may never know during this life of these projects. But what we have done, I think, has made Ayden with these projects a great place to live. And I think it's going to be a legacy for future of what Ayden is about. And I project, as we all know, in that area, we will see some retail growth. I mean, when you put 626 homes plus what's there, there'll be some retail growth in that area. And so I think this is a kudos to this board who had the vision to see this down the road, to put that sewer down and continue to we'll place that sewer down and that investment. And if it goes like we projected, then it would be a great addition to the town. So thank you from the board. Thank you to the investor. We're getting ready to put some future citizens in Ayden. So I think today is a historical day. Just want to clarify that. So
Mayor-
thank you.
Mayor Tripp,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff, just a quick question to Stephen Smith. How many turn lanes with those 3 plats are we anticipating on Ayden Golf Club Road?
Ultimately 1, 2, 5, and they'll all be right turn lanes.
Thank you.
Any other questions and comments? Okie dokie.
Excuse me, Mr. Tripp.
Yes.
Hey, I'm not sure if you can see me. I'll start my video. Can you see me now?
I can.
Hi, my name is Brandon Robertson. I think I've met you a couple times. I'm the general manager at Ayden Golf and Country Club. I just have a quick comment. Is there any plans with a lot of development, and it's all amazing for, I think, everyone in the community, like you've noted. But I think just one thing that I know my board of directors is not concerned about, but we're questioning, is there any plans for any kind of caution lights or anything around the club with a lot of, because as you know, the golf club crosses the street. So we just want to be concerned with the safety of all the golfers. And I mean, with a lot of families around, it could be a major situation. I don't want anything like that to happen at the club.
Appreciate that. It is noted. I will expect that when that growth in that area comes, we'll have to have some type traffic calming stuff in that area, because you do have a lot of pedestrians or golfers going across the highway.
Right.
So yeah, I would project that will happen.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that we just had a little bit of communication about that.
Yes, and I appreciate you making that comment. You know, what we like to do is continue being communication with you and the board at the Ayden Country Club. It's very important to us that we get your input as this area progress and grows.
Right.
And so I would tell you personally, I think one reason that it's growing there is because of the golf course.
Right.
And I think you're going to have a tremendous amount of membership in that golf course because of that. And so we think the golf course is one of our jewels in Ayden, one of the amenities that we're very proud of. So we definitely want you to keep us abreast and give us input as we progress in that town. I mean, progress that part of town into the country club.
Right.
So,
perfect. Yeah, that's great.
And I'll get the manager, keep you posted as we progress, so you know what's going on all times.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. It's a lot of items. And so it's the minutes from the February 3rd, 2020, February 10th, 2020, February 24th, 2020, March 9th, 2020, and March 25th, 2020. A tree has been killed. The 2019 CBD infrastructure, CBD B1 funding, the Ayden House Story charge-offs, approval amended of Ayden House Story fiscal year 2019-2020 annual budget, approve 1-year extension on the Ayden House Star accounting service contract. The ordinance for demolition of a dwelling is located on 4274 West Avenue. And last, the North Carolina NC 102 sanitary sewer extension, East Avenue water line replacement. Those are the items on the consent agenda. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to make a motion if no one has any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Anyone else? A second.
Second.
Commissioner Ross?
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions? We're going to vote on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
I guess that's everybody, right? So the motion passed. The next item is under page 188 in your books. It's consideration of a discount on electrical bills for the months of April and May 2020. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The board has been provided 2 scenarios for the consideration of a discount for the April and May billings of our electrical system. The purpose of doing so is, of course, due to the impact of COVID-19. The first scenario could be a consideration of a 10% for residential class, 7.5% for commercial class, and 5% for industrial. That would generate approximately $137,577 in lost revenue, in lost electrical revenue. And that's the equivalent on an annual basis of 1.2% decrease in our revenue. Second scenario contemplates a 10% for both residential and commercial and a 5% for industrial. That will generate approximately $149,106 in lost revenue, or a slight uptick for an equivalent of a 1.3% loss in our annual electric revenues. One of the things that I'd like to point out with the industrial rate, that we have one customer on industrial rate, that's Weyerhaeuser. Weyerhaeuser plant is basically 1/3 of all the kilowatt hours that we sell in a given year. And they're also 25% of our electric revenues. We're unique in that situation for a small town to have that large of an industry. We're very lucky as well because they're generating $2.5 million worth a year in revenue to us, which is huge. The 10% rate reduction, if you were to go with that for Weyerhaeuser, and that's why I pointed this out, would be a $37,288 loss in revenue just from that one customer, and that would increase the overall loss revenue to $156,221 on the first scenario, and $167,750 on the second scenario, which means a 1.4% annual decrease in revenue on the first scenario and a 1.5% revenue loss on the second scenario. And that is why we proposed a 5% as opposed to a 10% or 7.5% for Weyerhaeuser. And again, I did put some extra information in here, and that is if you make it as a comparison with our neighbor down the road, the town of Winterville, they effected a 10% across the board to all classes of customers. But according to their town manager, their largest customer is only 10 to 15% of their load, as opposed to being 1/3 of our load, like for Weyerhaeuser. Lastly, for tonight's consideration at the next item on the agenda, the board is going to be considering a 1% decrease in the rate due to a 1% decrease in purchase power costs from the power agency that was effective April the 1st. So you would have to add that to whatever discounts you've got. So in essence, we're depending on which scenario you choose, it would be a 2.2 or a 2.3% annual decrease in our revenue if you go with the 1% on the next line item. And that's my presentation, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions to the manager?
I have one. How much was warehousing impacted by this virus?
The information that I sent out earlier today to the board shows that Weyerhaeuser's April revenue, I mean, their not their revenue, but their kilowatt hours pulled in the month of April was a 12% decrease. We do not have the numbers, of course, for the month of May yet. The month of April for Weyerhaeuser is their low month. It's that shoulder month. And you can see that going back and looking at the graph that was also sent out to the board today. So we don't really, I don't know if you can just immediately say that's due to the COVID-19. It could be, but we would really need to see the month of May to really get an impact as to what the load they would pull for the month of May to get a better feel for that.
Okay, well, I like the first scenario better than I do the second one, but I'm also concerned about the meeting that we had back in September of 2019, which the first scenario, I look at it as separate and apart from that. And I would love for the first scenario to pass, but I'm also concerned about when we gave, I think it was 7.5%. You have any of that information in front of you, Mr. Manager?
What we did back in October was to give a rebate or a rebate of $7.50 on average back to our residential customers based on a billing error that back in the year of 15-16, and that discount, that rebate was done with your November billings. So that has occurred.
How much was that billing error? Do you remember?
Rob, do you have any idea? I'm trying to recall. I was thinking it was in the $30,000 range.
That sounds about right. I'd have to go back and look.
It was in the between $30,000 and $35,000.
So it's safe to say that the $750 that we gave back to our citizens, that was all that they were supposed to get?
Yes, sir.
Lesser than what they were. Where we at on that?
Yes, sir. That would be safe to say. Yes, sir.
Okay, because I was under the impression that it was 15% that they were due.
No, sir.
Okay.
What happened was back in 2015, the town received a 15% decrease from the power agency, and in October of that year, the board passed along a 10% decrease in rates after the consultant at that time recommended, I think it was about an 8.3% decrease. I would like to point out that over the last 4 years, we had a 1% decrease in your electric rates in the spring and April of 2017. And in 2018 and 2019, both years, we had a 1.2% increase in our public purchase power costs that was not passed along to the customers. So for 2 years running, our electrical costs went up, but we did not pass that along to the customers. So that's kind of the history.
Okay. So it's safe to say whatever we return to the customers or whatever discount we give them, that's all that they're due. We can safely say that pretty much. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I think that the fact that you ate, the board, that the system ate 2.4% over a 2-year period. Yes, sir. I think that it's been fair.
Okay.
Any other comments, Mayor Pro Tem?
Not at this time.
Commissioner Goff, any comments?
No comments.
Commissioner Ross?
What is the loss of revenue from other sources? What would that be? Do we have any? idea?
In your budget that you were sent 2 weeks ago, and will be taken up at the June 8th meeting, we're doing some projections in the budget. One of the projections is that we projected a 5% loss in sales tax revenue, and for the year. We also are projecting a lower collection rate for our property taxes. That's just a sort of a speculation, but we're projecting a 1% less revenue, 1% less collection rate for property taxes and for our vehicle taxes, just to be on the conservative side. So those are the areas, that other two areas that we put projections of losses in our revenue. We'll get a better feel for that after the next quarter, because we're into the second quarter of sales tax revenue coming back to the town.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ross. Commissioner Langley?
I just have a question for the manager. On those what we're looking at on revenue coming in with losses and everything, or actually not losses, just basically put back. Are you basing that on the fact that COVID-19 is allowing people to pay their taxes and register vehicles later?
That might be possible. That we were just trying to be on the conservative side of what we thought we would collect. I mean, we're still projecting a 97% collection rate, which is very good. It's been in the 98 to 98.2 range, which is very good too. We're just trying to be conservative as to what we thought we would collect. As far as the sales tax, the League of Municipalities is projecting anywhere from 5 to 20, depending on the community. And Rob and I talked about this. We do not have some of the big boxes and things like that in Ayden yet, and so we're not sure that we're going to be as impacted by the sales tax as, say, a community that has the big box stores and all the various and sundry shopping centers. So we figured the 5% would be a good number to put in the budget.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
I don't have anything.
I want to say that one, the $2.5 million that we talked about is revenue, so it's not net income. And just for clarity, we do have several rates. We got residential, we got commercial, we got industrial, and the formula for the rates is different according to the customer to be marketable within that sector. So when you look at commercial, when you look at residential, when you look at industrial, there is a different formula due to the market of that sector. And that's been helped by us, by electric cities, to help determine what that should be. That way we can be competitive in those rates per se. So when you talk about 2.5, you're just talking about the revenue. The incomes, what we're looking at is I call it an investment, return of the investment. As I look at it, the people who we do business with in our electrical funds or any of our enterprise funds are really investors in the town, and they are, like, to me, stockholders. So how can we return the money back to them? And I think this is one way of doing it, is to, during a time where everyone is struggling economically, I think it would be very helpful to get some stimulus money out to the public and to help those who may be really struggling. And I think it's a good measure. This is one reason that we do have a fund balance with things like this, but we need to take consideration with the fund balance moving forward. We just approved 626 plots of potential houses. That's going to take initially some of that fund balance to build those electrical lines, putting those poles down. So I don't know what the exact cost is going to be in that arena, but we're going to have to take some of our fund balance to invest in those infrastructures to get those developments straight. So we need to take that in consideration also when we think about this. My biggest thing is, what is our fund balance? I don't know exactly. What is the fund balance in the electrical fund right now?
Rob?
Give me just a second.
You look good in your pajamas. It's like close to
7,082,000 right now.
7,082,000. My thought, I can understand the Mayor Pro Tem's recommendation. First scenario, I would recommend the second scenario due to the fact that some of our commercial business have been shut down temporarily or doing less business. And I think, that would give some stimulus. I think the differential is really on like $12,000. So evidently it's not a big customer base in regards to that. So that will be my recommendation. And that will be my recommendation. But what's the pleasure of the board? Any comments from the board members?
I like the first scenario.
Like the first one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Sure. I'd like to make a motion that that we go with the first scenario.
Okay, the motion is go to first scenario, which is 10% discount for residential, 7.5 commercial, and 5% industrial. That's the motion by the Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second to his motion?
I second.
Commissioner Davis second the motion. Any discussion? Okay, we're going to vote on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Good. The motion passed unanimously. So thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you guys for that. The next item is approval reduction of electrical rates by 1%. Mr. Manager. Page 189. Oh, he's not there, so I'll read it. Effective April 2020, the town purchased power calls from the.
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay, I got it. The North Carolina Eastern Municipal Power Agencies were reduced by 1% by the Legislative Board of Directors. Enclosed is an ordinance reducing all customer class electrical rates by 1% effective May 12, 2020. Any questions to me, not the manager? I'll answer this one. I'm Smith. Mr. Manager, any questions to the manager?
No questions.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion.
Motion by name.
Commissioner.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Langley, motion.
Commissioner Langley.
Your Goff second.
Commissioner Goff second. Any question? Voting on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item, Mr. Manager's approval of retroactive use of Federal Families First Canaries, whatever it's COVID Response Act.
Yes, sir.
So you got it?
I've got it. There is a federal act that was passed the latter part of March by the U.S. Congress. It's called the Federal Families First Coronavirus Response Act. And what it does is it provides emergency leave and emergency family leave, emergency sick leave and emergency family leave for employees who are impacted by COVID-19. Basically what it does is it provides 80 hours. What it does is it applies to government employees. This does not apply to the private sector, but it grants 80 hours of sick leave, emergency sick leave, and expanded family medical leave if it's related to COVID-19. The areas in which it would affect is the employee is subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation. The employee has been advised by their healthcare provider to self-quarantine because of the COVID-19. The employee is showing symptoms of COVID-19 and is seeking, but has not yet received a medical diagnosis. The employee is caring for someone subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation order related to COVID-19, or has been advised by the healthcare provider to self-quarantine for related reasons. And lastly, if the employee is having to take care of a child due to daycare or schools being shut down due to COVID-19. As this information was trotted out throughout North Carolina, it took a lot of different turns, and our information was basically ongoing on an ongoing basis. We thought when we got the information that since we had an employee who had a child situation and 2 employees who had been told by their healthcare provider that they needed to go out on quarantine, we thought that was effective at that time. That was about 2 weeks before we found out that the act was actually effective on April the 2nd. We got that actually on April the 2nd from a Zoom meeting with the School of Government. Also, the act does not require an employer to extend this emergency leave or federal medical leave due to family medical leave due to COVID-19 to essential employees. Essential employees are employees, public safety positions, public works, public utilities, and any employees whose position supports that. Well, you pretty much defined 99.9% of the employees of the town of Ayden, which would, if we were to say they're essential and we're not going to give that to them, then basically nobody with no employee would be entitled to that type of emergency leave. Lastly, let's see. That's basically it. So the recommendation to the board from the staff is that, number one, the 3 employees, I think there was 3, maybe there was 4, but I know there was at least 3 who got their leave a bit early, that we go ahead and retroactively allow them to use the COVID-19 emergency leave. Secondly, that the staff feels that we're capable of allowing for essential employees to be able to go out under these 5 categories and still be able to provide the services. We've been taking measures to be able to do that, and we prefer not to see essential employees be deprived of that opportunity. Basically, and one other thing, the emergency sick leave from under COVID-19 only pays 2/3 of the employee's salary. So if they get their 80 hours, they only get 2/3 of their salary. Under the Town of Ayden's benefit guidebook, you can only use sick leave if you are sick or a family member is sick. Well, if you look at this at the category here, the last category under childcare doesn't apply. So the employee's only option is to either take 2/3 of the sick leave and live with that, or use 1/3 of their vacation leave to make up the difference. The recommendation is that we mirror the COVID-19 and allow our sick leave to be used for that category, since the federal government is allowing that to be used for that category. That's the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any question to the manager?
Just as a little caveat, I do want to commend Steve. We've been in, as he was saying, a lot of this information was kind of like dripping in as the weeks have been going on. Any conversation we've had, we've been erring on the side of the safety of the town employees and just making sure that was kind of where our heart was at. So I agree with everything that Steve says. I just wanted to point out he's done a great job kind of staying up on a lot of this and handling it. We've been getting this information and it's been changing pretty much every 3 or 4 days. So managing about as best as we have. So
thank you. Any question to the manager or the attorney? What's the pleasure?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Langley. Any discussion? Voting on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Commissioner Langley.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, approved drawdown of $2,500 of the town's $5,000 escrow funds for option extension on the Whitehurst building. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. The option we had on the building expired on March the 18th. We had an additional 30 days to purchase the building, if we wanted to purchase it, but given the COVID-19 and our projection of what may or may not happen with our revenue, Mallory Denham, our economic development director, spoke with the property owner, and the property owner has agreed to give an additional 5 months plus the 30 days after that 5 months for purchasing. If they could go ahead and draw down on the $2,500 that's in escrow. However, there's one caveat that has occurred in this past week. They also would like to be able to draw down the final $2,500 if we don't end up purchasing it at the end of that 5 month and 30-day period. So this would take us to September the 18th, and Mallory could continue to try and find some developers to be able to develop the building. So the recommendation is to allow for the drawdown of $2,500, and also know that the other $2,500 would be drawn down at the end of that period.
Any question to the manager?
Mallory, did you have something to add?
Yeah, you want something? Yeah.
Let me make one clarification. My conversation was not with the owner; it was with the real estate brokers that represent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And in all reality, the contract has expired, and they've been gracious enough to extend it without taking the full 5,000. Understand, if we do buy the building, the full 5,000 goes against the purchase price.
Right.
We're not actually going to lose it if we buy the building.
Thank you, Mallory.
Okay. Any questions to the manager or economic developer?
Commissioner Goff, I have one question. Mallory, what progress, do you have any progress as to any type of interest?
At this point, no one stepped forward. We've dealt a little bit with the University of North Carolina School of Government. They were putting a proposal together for us that was actually due in the first week of March, but because of the virus situation, they've kind of gone off the radar. So we're still looking, we're still making phone calls and emails, but at this point, we're not having much success finding someone who's going to invest. Now, part of that is the building is going to take a lot more money than we had anticipated to completely make it usable, according to the School of Government. But we're working diligently. We're just, and money's going to be a little tighter, I think, as this illness progresses.
And I can tell you too, Commissioner Goff, my brother works for the School of Government, and they've been just sitting at home and not going to the office and not doing a lot of stuff. Everything's just been drastically impacted the last couple of months. Just to back up a little what he's been saying.
Yeah, and unfortunately in economic development, that's been kind of the way of everything that I was doing. It's all kind of just, it's flatlined for a little bit.
Yeah.
I do have future optimism, but at this point, it's going to be staggering for a little bit.
Seems to be a statewide issue.
Yeah.
Yes. Nationwide issue.
Nationwide, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. Commissioner Langley, I have a question for Ms. Mallory.
Yes, sir.
When you say that the School of Government, and because we've all had our own ideas and we've all heard different numbers, what number did you get from the School of Government on that building?
It ranged from 2 million to 2.5 million. And that was an on the street estimate. Now, I understand wasn't on paper. It was their what we call their head engineer's estimate when he walked the building with us one day.
We actually did go inside the building as well, so they did get to see the interior. Yeah. But we originally said something like $1 million, and they said that $1 million would not do that. But at this point, I think that all we're really asking for, Commissioner Langley, is for us to be able to use the same 5,000 and get another 5 to 6 months opportunity to see what we can do with the building.
Yeah, and I understood that 5,000 would come back if we decide to do something in September.
That's
right.
right.
Not
to move forward.
Go ahead. They're to get this additional 5 months. They're going to go ahead and draw down 2,500. That 2,500 is gone. And then at the end of the 5 months, if if we don't move forward, they get the last 2,500. But if we do move forward with the purchase, say we move forward with the purchase, the 5,000 would go against the cost of the building.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now we just need a motion.
Yep, we need a motion. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Langley,
Second.
second by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? We're gonna vote on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed. Great deal. Next is to identify the town's NCLM voting delegate. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. As you know, each year, the North Carolina League of Municipalities has a meeting. The original meeting was this spring and it's been put off to a later part of the year. But we need to appoint somebody to be the voting member at the conference, because they'll have a slate of legislative things they'll want to do, and then they need a member from the town to be able to vote.
Okay, the recommendation last year was the town manager. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to recommend that it be the town manager this year.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem, the town manager.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any discussion? Voted on the motion.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you, guys. And last item of action is appointment. Support Town of Ayden member to the Greenville ENC Alliance Board of Directors. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. I'll try to put this in a nutshell here. As y'all recall, there are going to be 24 members of the new Greenville Eastern North Carolina Alliance. That alliance will be composed of both private sector and public sector individuals. The smaller municipalities have been reserved 3 rotating seats on that 24-member panel or 24-member board. And that is participating members that have paid. To date, Simpson, Farmville, Ayden, Bethel, Fountain, and Grimesland, we are all now paying members of the Alliance. The recommendation from the decision by the board was to offer the first rotating seats to the town of Simpson with a 1-year term, the town of Farmville with a 2-year term, and the town of Ayden with a 3-year term. I think that's a wonderful situation, because we're going to be at the forefront of this new alliance as it moves forward and helping to establish where it's going to go. As you probably also know, we have a new executive director, CEO, president, executive director, is Mr. Stephen Weathers. He is on board, and we're very excited. And the alliance has raised close to $4 million in private sector investment. That's incredible that we got that kind of private sector investment. So we get the first 3 years, and then as the 3, then it will just rotate. We'll go to the bottom of the list, and then we'll rotate up. So that's what I need tonight, Mr. Mayor, for somebody to be approved, to be appointed to the 3-year term on the Alliance board.
Just so give you some history as a board member, the town manager has been very active with this group of board members. I know that he was served on the selection committee for the new CEO, and he has been attending to all meetings going forward. That's something that I would like to do, but however, I just don't have the time to do it right now. So I would recommend the manager be the one appointed. He's very aware of the alliance. He's been an integral part of the alliance from the start go. He has a lot of relationships there on the alliance board. So I think he will be a good advocate to be the one to appoint. That's my thoughts.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the manager.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
second by Commissioner Langley. In discussion.
Question is our town manager interested and willing in this position?
Well, I would be willing to do it. Yes, ma'am, I would. One thing for consideration though is that I don't know what the other towns are doing in terms, but I do know that the town of Bethel is looking at well, they're not even in the rotation yet, so that's fine. Let's leave it.
We have a motion and a second. So it's just
Yep, we do. We're going to vote on the motion. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Langley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Unanimously. So congratulations, Mr. Manager. We know you do very well on behalf of the town. So thank you.
Sir.
The next item are staff department reports. Mr. Manager, anything from you?
No, I don't believe I've got anything. With department heads are online, willing to answer any questions that you might have.
Any question to our department manager?
I have one for the manager.
Yes, sir.
Where, I know I went up the other day and signed off on the letter and everything that you put together.
Yes, sir.
I want to say to you, I appreciate that. I think that's going to be a very powerful move on behalf of the entire board. I gotta be honest and tell you that I'm really disappointed with the way that things have gone down. I don't want to talk about anything bad, but everybody knows about the death that occurred out there. I hate that. It hit me to the bottom of my gut. And the day after that, I was coming back from Food Line and I got caught in another traffic jam. So we've done our part. I really feel up to a point that the board was disrespected because we poured our hearts out to the engineer. And from what I can see and what I've been told, they really didn't give us a timely response or stand behind some of the things that they told us regarding a response. So I'm let down with that situation.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other question to the manager? I do want to say in regards to the Ayden Housing Authority and the purchase of the OIGA, as we progress moving forward, just make sure we keep the board informed how we're moving through that project and what the idea as far as renovation of it, what it looks like. And as soon as we can get started, the better it will be. That property is very bad eyesore, and we can get started as soon as possible, get it going. But I think the board would like to know how we're going to rehab it or renovate it.
All right.
I'm working on plans now. When I get some blueprints, I'll present them to you guys.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate you buying it.
Yeah.
Make a great addition to our town down there, and we love, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
Thank you for that.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I would like to commend her on her vision, for that property. That's really big. You have a lot of people excited about that, man. A lot of people.
Well, you're right, Mayor Pro Tem, and I think once we start the renovation project, it's going to hit the roof. Gonna be so excited people, and hopefully that'll be a stimulus project we'll get that economic development down that way, which is badly needed. And so I'm looking forward to that. So I appreciate her doing that. Any other departmental reports before we go to the board commissioners' remarks? Okay, let's do that. We'll start on our roll that we've been going on. Mayor Pro Tem, let you go first.
Okay, well, I just want to thank everybody that serves on this board and thank all of our employees. I think we have the best employees around, to tell you the truth. Just can't say enough good things about them. And congratulations also to, again, to our new police chief. I think he's the right man for the job in the age and time that we're living in. And I hope everybody stays safe from the virus and stay prayed up. That's all I have.
Thank you. That's good comments. Commissioner Goff.
I just have to echo what our Mayor Pro Tem just said. I really appreciate all of what our staff has been doing. Also with the communication. We've had a lot of communication lately, given all that our county and state has been going through. So I appreciate every communication outlook that has been provided to us. I think it's good that we, are kept informed and up to date. So that's a good thing. And just appreciate everything everybody's been doing, from the Ayden Housing Authority, our arts, or our recreation area. I think everybody's doing a really great job. And as Mayor Pro Tem Mewburn said, I think we've got the right people in the right places. So thank you so much. And all of you stay safe and stay well, stay away from this COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Goff. Commissioner Ross.
Yes, just like to thank, as everyone else has said, the staff and all our employees. Congratulations to our police chief. He's doing a great job. Appreciate that. And all our employees, appreciate all that you're doing, and everybody be safe.
Thank you, Commissioner Ross. Commissioner Langley.
And I'll reiterate everything that everyone said prior to our employees. And I want to wish all of our mothers a belated Mother's Day. Also, I wanted to know, as a town, have we got anything in place for NCDOT? Have we given any kind of timeline? Do we have anything that we can do as a town for Snow Hill and Highway 11? Is there anything, because we're at the mercy of NCDOT now, and we're having accidents, and we had a death. And I mean, what can we do as a town? I understand these are state highways, or I understand that, but is there anything that we can do? Do we got any kind of plan that we can put together to hold DOT responsible for responding to us on this?
The avenue that you all have taken this past week, which was a letter to the North Carolina delegation that represents Pitt County, and you as individual governing board members contacting those same 4 individuals and telling them what the story is. That, to me, sir, is how you're going to get the kind of action that you want. You may have noticed that it took your phone call, the phone call that you made, within an hour. We all had an email from the district engineer within an hour of your call to Representative Humphrey. That tells you the story right there.
But I understand, but I do know that, are we going to have, can we get any kind of response, like anything at all?
Yes, sir. We're going to keep on them about getting a response back. You got an email from the district engineer that copied Representative Humphrey that he's going to come back with what they see that they can do with that intersection. But I would also recommend that you all continue to make the contact as well, and so that we'll get them to move on that. I don't have anything right now, but we all got the email from the district engineer last week, and he's been made aware by Representative Humphrey to bring us back something.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Langley. Commissioner Davis.
First of all, I want to apologize for being late, but I'm not the greatest technology guy around. I kept playing this thing. I finally got it working. When I first started, I could hear you, but I couldn't see you. Now I can see you. But piggyback on what Commissioner Langley said, aren't we building a new housing development over there by the middle school? So I'm thinking the traffic pattern's gonna get worse.
Yes, sir. We have over 140 apartments that will be going up right at that intersection. That's a huge incentive to the I would think, to the NCDOT to do something about it. Yes, sir.
It would be. I mean, once again, I just apologize for being late, and I hope June meeting we'll be able to meet in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis, and I do too. I think the DOT is going to be a process. I think contacting, like the manager said, all our political friends who we have supported and they have supported us, I think it's going to be very crucial we continue that contact. and ask him for a response timeline to manager might be good. Did we send information to the DOT board member Taft?
I think he was on the email that Representative Humphrey sent out, because Representative Humphrey had about a half a dozen CCs on there. So I'll go back and double check that.
So we may want contact
Yes, sir.
individually going forward. So I think that'd be crucial, the vital part of that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
could I interject real quick?
sure.
Everything we're talking about is important, and you were the one that spoke on this particular intersection when we had the engineer down here. And I guess my question would be to Mr. Manager, have you heard anything else from the other spot, like you're coming from Ayden Griffin School, that immediate turn off, because they need to really take a look at what we have
Yes, sir.
said to them, man, and not just brush us off.
Yes, sir. And we're going to be on top of that as well. We were told, as you recall, you were told at your January meeting that they would get started on that by the end of March, and we're sitting here in May. So we're gonna just have to keep the pedal down on them. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's important to us, so we'll do that. Do want to take time out to, again, like everyone has said, is thank the employees. You know, this is a very difficult time, not only for us as a business, as a town, but also individually. You know, this is stay at home, not socializing, not going to church has been very difficult, not only as your personal life. So we got to be mindful of that, as they do have personal lives, and try to give them support whenever it's needed. Do want to take time out and thank everyone who's part of our Zoom meeting. It is a historical meeting. I think we've done very well to navigate through this. I think we've done a lot of actions in a short period of time. So I'm very grateful to each board member and also the citizens who may be on soon. So we say thank you for that and appreciate your patience with us. Again, another historical night with 626 plots being approved. I think, you know, it's a historical night for the town of Ayden to move forward. You know, at the end of the day, when we get to the post-COVID time, which will happen, then I think we'll be stronger, and I think we'll get the economy back going where it needs to be, not only for the town of Ayden, but this country. But I think the mayor pro tem was very good. In between that time and now and that time, we just need to be in prayer, because this is a very serious virus that's going around, has done a lot of damage to a lot of folks. And so just ask everyone to be safe and be your family safe and keep in distance of one another. And again, we get through with this? We'll be on the better side. I agree with Commissioner Davis. I hope our next meeting, business meeting in June, we'll be together and have that type of social time together. So with that said, if there's no other items to be brought forth, I would say that we'll adjourn the meeting without any opposition. So if everyone's good with that, we'll adjourn. So y'all be safe. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.